Hello!
Hey everyone, it's John here from Hot Take Hockey, joined by the legend, the squid, Jesse Pollock. Crazy playoffs so far. So I definitely wanted to get you on. Obviously the Jets in this North Division were right in that kind of spot, battling for the first in the North with the Leafs. I'm sure a lot of Leaf fans have been giving you a crap over the season. And then obviously they've kind of cooled down towards the end, but for myself, I've kind of been saying it. I think they still have a real shot here against the others. So I'm glad to bring you on. I'm so thankful you're coming on to chat Jets hockey, playoffs in general. So how are you feeling about the Jets going to the playoffs? What's your mindset in this obviously crazy world right now with the NHL playoffs underway?
First of all, thanks for having me again. It's a pleasure to be on the show. Being called a legend is something I rarely hear. I usually hear a lot worse from all these little 8-year-olds or 10-year-olds on Instagram. So
yeah,
appreciate you having me. And, I always love talking Jets. I know we discussed it right before I came on, but I'm actually digging the position that the Jets are in. I don't know. The past couple of years, there's just been so much pressure on Winnipeg. It's like, this is their year. The Jets, such a good team. And I feel like the pressure's kind of gone to them, particularly last year, the year before, I should say, against St. Louis. Then last year was kind of just a write-off with all of the injuries that happened. But I don't know. The Jets have been slumping lately, and I feel like they have a little time off now to regroup, say, listen, we have got a roster that's capable of making a run here. If our goalie can win us some games and our defense can just kind of kick it up to the next gear, we know we've got a great top six. Even our top nine, I would say, is fantastic. Our third line is as good as any really in the league.
Yeah.
I think the Jets have got a nice little chance to make a run here. Call me crazy. Have the Oilers really proven anything in the playoffs yet? Part of you is always like, these generational players, they're always waiting for their turn to like take it to the next step. Like we saw with Crosby, obviously, too. And saw with some of the young guys on Chicago, obviously, but it could be this year with Edmonton, but I don't know. I think we're going to give Edmonton a tough time.
Well, man, I got a lot of backlash for saying, and I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek on my bracket. I said Jets over Oilers in 7. I said, actually, surprise or not, I said Jets over Leafs in the second round.
Let's go. Me too.
Kind of similar to what you said. For me, this is a weird year. I'm getting sometimes all my picks, I mean, it's predictions. It's whatever, like sometimes it's just a gut pick. Sometimes it's just like which team's rolling. But for this year, I think the Jets, when I look at the whole team, for me at least, they're stacked up front. I think you look up and down the lineup, there's been guys have plugged in, but for the most part, they have one of the best top nines in the league. And you have Connor Hellebuyck, who obviously the one concern is, you look at the time on ice, he's at the top. He's played the most in the league. So obviously that's a concern, but we've seen Hellebuyck turn it on, and they've been given a little bit of a break here. So I just have the sense that I think the Jets or Leafs, I think that should be the second round. Obviously, all the experts are saying Leafs in 5 or 6. So they said the same thing for Pittsburgh over Montreal last year. So who knows? Maybe something goes down. But I think it should be Leafs and then maybe Jets or Oilers. And I think the Jets have a real shot here. Yeah, as you said, they're coming in as a real underdog. So for your mindset right now, are the Jets one of those big, you kind of touched on it, but big sneaky teams?
Well, I think Nikolai Ehlers needs to stay healthy too. Let's be clear on that, because he's arguably been the Jets MVP this season. He's been, as far as players go, at least, he's been just fantastic. He's taken his game to the next level. It's interesting to see that happen right when Patty leaves as well. His good buddy. But yeah, I mean, I think the Jets should definitely be considered a sleeper simply because everyone is sleeping on them. You look at all these rankings, the Jets are 1 to 16. The Jets are always near the bottom. Yeah, they struggled lately, but let's not forget that this is a team that could easily turn things around. They've been there before. We've been to the playoffs. Just a couple years ago, we made a pretty deep run. I like this group. I don't think they've lost it entirely yet. And if Pierre-Luc Dubois can also take his game to another level, I know there's a lot of ifs, but it's all things that could very well happen. If PLD does what he did in the playoffs last year, let's not forget how dominant that guy was for the Jackets last year. This guy, he might just say, it's time for me to step up, lead. I was brought in here for this purpose, to be that solid number 2 center. It's my time. And I just think that the Jets have really what it takes to make a run. But at the same time, if we don't, the season is going to be defined by what we didn't do at the trade deadline to acquire the right pieces on defense. Because when there's a lane in the North Division like this right now, there's a path. I mean, the Jets are in a pretty tough division as is every year, but this one, it just seems like to go to the conference final, you don't have to, I think the Jets could be better than the Oilers, could be better than the Leafs if they want to be, but we just didn't do anything at the deadline. And if you look at our defense, it's not good. Like there's no way you can't beat around the bush. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. Every team has its weaknesses. So hopefully that doesn't hurt us too much in the playoffs, but relatively speaking, the Jets are pretty weak on the back end.
Yeah, well, I've given my fan base, the Leafs, like a lot of like reminders and crap because I've said like, let's not forget what the Jets did for the first 3 quarters of the season, right? Just because this is like, we always go to recency bias and what's kind of fresh in our minds. But it was the Jets and Leafs for the North Division back and forth. And we've seen so many times. I mean, I could list a bunch of examples, but one example was last year, I picked the Canes in 4 over the Rangers. Rangers fans, I'm not all Rangers fans, but some Rangers fans are all up in my comments and DMs saying, oh man, we swept them in the season series. Rangers are going to beat them, but Canes obviously sweep them to the side like it was nothing. So season series for me, like it has a little bit of a reflection, but at the end of the day, playoffs is a whole different animal.
It's a different beast. That's what we just said on the Bar Down podcast. The playoffs are a different beast, and it's true. Yeah. Once the playoffs start, everything changes. All right.
Yeah.
Certain teams, certain players, they know how to rise to the occasion. I have zero doubt that McDavid is going to be dominant in this series.
Of course.
But has he really proven to be that dominant of a playoff player yet? No, he has never been as good as he is right now in his career.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe the Jets prove to be too much for Connor and find a way to shut him down. But with our back end right now, that's going to be a tough task. We've got a lot of pretty slow guys on the back end.
It was a completely different scenario. But yeah, as you said with Dubois, Buddy completely stepped up and played just a physical game, a get under your skin game. And obviously like a game where he ended up scoring clutch goals on top of that. So I think, as you said, you have obviously there's been issues with consistency in the top 6 and what Wheeler are we getting in the playoffs. But in terms of Connor, in terms of Ehlers, and then even obviously Scheifele's put up well over a point per game, I'm pretty sure. So the numbers are there. And then obviously the emergence of Andrew Kopp and Lowry, just the extensions that are a great year. And the depth's there.
Everyone's talking about how much Zach Hyman is going to make on his next deal. And I love Zach. he's a great guy and he deserves a big raise as to what he's currently getting.
For sure.
But I mean, if Zach Hyman is going to be getting this amount of money, what is Andrew Kopp going to be getting on his next deal? He should be getting similar numbers. He statistically, he had a pretty great season. And
the Hyman one's interesting because of the whole like talk of maybe a hometown discount. But I mean, I think Buddy easily gets over $5 million if he goes in the open market.
I don't know how much over $5 million, but I'd say Zach is probably worth $5 million for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's been a great player. You see people saying like he's the most important Leaf this year. Like that's just a bunch, that's a little far. but Zach's been a great player. He's very valuable to the Leafs, and it's so nice. He's such a nice story. And he's also a really good guy. Like I've met Zach on numerous occasions, and he's just a beauty. Yeah. The Jets, it's going to be an interesting year because, I mean that Rangers example was pretty interesting, and I just think. Oh, I just have this feeling we're going to do it. I have a feeling we're going to pull off the upset, but maybe that's just being a little biased.
Well, on Twitter, I know you've gotten dinged a couple times by the Leafs and Oilers fans for sure.
Always, man. Always.
And
the Oilers have not proven anything. Like Mike Smith's pretty old. He's been good this year, but who knows? Their defense is better than it's been in a while. But I mean, it's looking nice. But this isn't a very deep team. And if we could find a way to shut down a couple of the Oilers' top guys, like, you should not count out the Jets. I mean, it's just insane to see how much crap the Jets are taking right now. It's just a bunch of baloney to me.
Well, I will say it. I always have a good time with the Oilers fans because it's funny because on the one side, they know how bad their depth is. But then when it comes to talking to another fan base, it's basically like lying to themselves about how Chason's going to step up in the playoffs, how James Neal's going to step up in the playoffs. I'm just like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, we'll see about that. Look at the Canadian division, a couple great matchups as well. And the only one I'm really not looking forward to, obviously, is Carolina Nashville. That's kind of like a bogus series that Carolina should handle easily. But
yeah.
I mean, Washington, Boston,
Crazy.
Pittsburgh, New York, like, and the Islanders, like that's just every series is just a banger.
Yeah.
Like let's go. Let's
Big
go.
Time. Can we get a let's go from Jesse Pollock?
Let's go. Let's go.
The fans have been wanting that one.
like come on, like feel fired up. What a stretch of sports we have coming up right now. Like NHL puck, NBA playoffs, Euro Cup, the Olympics, like come on, like let's go.
Do you got anything coming up you want to promote something you got coming up even personally?
All right. Well, thanks, man. Well, I don't know if anyone saw, but there happened to be a plane that flew across Toronto that said, "Hey, Corwin, the Leafs suck." So hopefully you guys will be able to see kind of how that came to be in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. And I think there's lots of playoff content coming up from Bar Down in the coming weeks. Just, regardless of what's happening, I know like the pandemic is obviously a tough time, but luckily we're still able to consume content, right? And specifically digitally. Yeah. So keep a look over Bar Down, lots of fun stuff. Put you in a good mood, hopefully, if you're feeling down at all. But I don't know, I guess I'm just gonna say to everyone, like, the NHL playoffs are back, like with a vengeance right now. Like, it's like, we know it's been a tough year, but we got you.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know if you made your bracket public. Did you have a Stanley Cup winning pick, or did you make it like public or post it somewhere?
Yeah, it's on Bar Down. Jets over Bruins.
Jets over Bruins. I don't know. He's going all for it. I love it.
Of course, man. Got to support my boys.
There you go. Hey, maybe I'm not the best fan. I got the Jets knocking out the Leafs, so
let's go.
Leaf fans have been ripping into me. But here's the thing: I'm tired of saying the Leafs are going to go all the way, and then they just get booted right away. So
watch this be the year.
Yeah, we'll see. But thanks for coming on, Jesse. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Take care.